Spudguns, how's it going? Is I, Artist Blood, the ghoul next door. Alright, so it's 2017 and this is the year that Canada turns 150. Is it a birthday, anniversary? I don't know, but it's a celebration that apparently we have to deal with all year round. I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. I love being Canadian. I really don't see myself ever living anywhere other than Canada. But Canada Day is not until July the 1st. We have had these reminders since Christmas of last year, so it's like, I'm just tired of every time I turn around, Canada is 150. So I thought, it's March right now, I'm just going to get this over with. My top 5 favorite Canadian movies. Number 5, Roadkill by Bruce McDonald. I believe that is a 1987 film. I could be wrong on the year. It might be an 86 or even an 88. I will double check and put that in here somewhere. And it is about a record executive. No, she's not an executive. She's an assistant to a record executive. And she is told to go collect members of a band, of a heavy metal band, who are late for their tour. And it takes the lead character from Sudbury to Thunder Bay. I believe it's Sudbury. Across Ontario, anyway. The thing is, the gimmick is that she herself does not drive. So we see her hitching a ride with a movie crew and a taxi driver and eventually a wannabe serial killer. And they all end up in Thunder Bay, and there's a big bloody shootout. And I may be mistaken. I could very well be mistaken on this. They end up in what used to be the In-Towner Bar, which does not exist anymore. I believe it was the In-Towner Bar. Big joke being they end up in Thunder Bay. It's a black and white film. It's by Bruce McDonald, starring Bruce McDonald. Number 4, Highway 61, also a Bruce McDonald film. Here we have, and it's got the same, a lot of the same cast members. A barber finds a dead body in his backyard and becomes kind of a local celebrity. Meanwhile, there is a roadie who is trying to smuggle drugs into the US, and she does it by getting her hands on the corpse, hiding the drugs in the corpse, and then conning this poor innocent guy into driving her from, once again, Thunder Bay, down Highway 61, all the way down to New Orleans. The whole time, they've got a guy on their trail who believes he is Satan and believes that the soul of the corpse rightfully belongs to him because he paid for it with concert tickets to a band in Thunder Bay. People only come here to die, I swear. Number 3, Strange Brew, starring Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. I believe it's a 1982 movie. I will double check and put that in here somewhere. And it is a take on Hamlet, and namely the characters Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Guildenstern, Rosencrantz. Yes. For anybody who's seen the old SCTV TV show from the early 80s, it's the characters of Bob and Doug who are kind of over-the-top characters of a lot of Canadian guys who just drink all day and watch hockey all night. They're trying to get free beer and get wrapped up in this story about a woman whose father is a ghost trying to save his company. It's a good idea. It's a classic Canadian film. It's funny as hell. Hard to explain. Number 2, Ginger Snaps. That female werewolf story that from, I believe it was 1999. It might be a 2000. I will double check that too. I think it has become the ultimate metaphor for being a chick. You've got two teenage sisters who are very morbid. They're kind of goth in the traditional sense, whereas they're into the strange, the sickening, and the disturbing. Canada is really good for doing movies about sickening, strange, and disturbing. We have such a knack for it. But the older of the two sisters, in case you haven't seen the movie, the older of the two sisters, she gets her period for the first time, very much like Harry. And it draws the attention of a male werewolf, and she gets bitten, and then it's the process of her dealing with this, and it's a metaphor for sexuality, for kind of coming into your own, and she infects a couple of people along the way, so we get to see what it's like for a man to go through kind of this situation. Number 1, the 1995 hardcore logo. Once again, Bruce McDonald. So this actually fills out his trilogy of Roadkill, Highway 61, and then hardcore logo. It's his rock and roll trilogy. And what we have here is we have an aged punk band who reunite under the impression, or under the idea, I lost my word there for a second, under the idea that they are doing a tribute for a supposedly dead friend, who we find out midway through the movie is not actually dead, and nothing is wrong with him, he's just retired. So the character of Joe Dick, played perfectly by rock star Hugh Dillon from Headstones. He's kind of lied to everybody. We find out that he's lied to everybody through the movie, and he did it to get the money. He did it to get the money because it was supposed to be a benefit concert. He did it to get the money and to get the band back together. And if you haven't seen this movie, highly, highly recommend it. I think it was released in the United States under the Quentin Tarantino banner, I do believe. And that one is based on a book. So if you can get your hands on the book, I'd say do that too. Well, that's my favorite top 5 Canadian movies at this point in time in life. What can I say other than, oh, Canada. Mwah. Creeping screams.